So when we designed the Model S, we actually thought, well, we should preserve the optionality. So what if people do want to switch out their battery pack? What if they only want to stop for a short period of time? And when you come to the Tesla station, it shouldn't be really called the supercharging station. It should just be called the Tesla station. You have the choice of the supercharger, which is and always will be free, or you have the choice of a battery pack swap, which is faster than you can fill a gas tank. So the only decision you need to make when you come to one of our Tesla stations is, do you prefer faster or free?
Hi friends, welcome back. So that was Elon Musk Tesla back in 2013 saying, hey, do you want faster or free charging? The choice is yours. They did a demo where they showed, hey, we have this like cool car, it can swap batteries. They did a couple swaps in the same time that you would just get a regular fill up with a regular car. And what's interesting about this stuff is that we don't talk about this at all anymore. However, I want to go over a couple things in this article and also too what's going on in the current markets today, just to help your understanding of some of the things that do go on and to some of the things that people say. And do remember this stuff. This is from 2015, guys, and this was the headline back then. Tesla sounds ready to pull the plug on the promised battery swap technology. So they were promising this thing, but turns out they're not going to do it. Again, this is back like 10 years ago, and it matters. It matters, guys. You want to look at people's track record. This is kind of interesting thing is what they did is they had a bunch of people that were early adopters of the cars. They sent out 200 invitations and like, hey, do you want to do this battery swap thing? Only a couple people wanted to do it, right? And this was actually also a thing that was interesting is a quote from Musk. He said, we built the pack swap into the car because we weren't sure if people would want to choose this pack swap or not, okay? They weren't sure. We thought people would prefer supercharging, but we weren't sure. So that's why we built this pack swap capability in. And based on what we're seeing here, it's unlikely to be something worth expanding in the future unless something changes, right? So they kind of backed out on those plans. They're saying people don't want it. Here's the interesting thing. And you're like, okay, so maybe people don't want the fast. That's according to Elon Musk. How about the free? What's going on with that? This is again from them. For the superchargers, as we said in the initial press release, the superchargers are free. It's basically free long distance for life. Oh, there's a qualifier there. Free long distance for life. Forever, right? That's what they say. So free long distance forever is what superchargers are providing. Now, there are a few people who are quite aggressive using it for local supercharging. And we will sort of send them just a reminder note that it's cool to do this occasionally, but it's meant to be a long distance thing. So stop doing it, guys. You're costing us too much money. He didn't say that, but you didn't get my point. But it is a free long distance forever. It is basically built into the cost of the car. And based on what we're seeing in terms of economics, it looks quite supportable. It's interesting because when you take a look at like the battery swapping thing to build those stations, I was reading the old stuff about this. The costs were going to be like $500,000 per station or something like that. And essentially, I think as it boiled down to, giving people this battery swapping stuff or this free charging stuff, it's just not sustainable. And I don't have to explain it to you. It's tough. And the other thing too, which is kind of interesting when Musk was saying that, hey guys, people don't want the swapping thing. Well, the thing is like at the time, they were requiring people to, go to like just a few stations, like there's like 1 or 2 locations, and you had to make an appointment. so of course, like how many of you make appointments to go to the gas station, right? So of course people aren't going to want said thing. So it's kind of funny, like how they promise you something, they offer you kind of in ways that maybe the ways that you want, and they just don't offer anymore because, see, it's your fault. And this is kind of the things that Musk and Tesla do, right? They find these crazy ways to make you crazy promises, and then they find these crazy excuses, and yet people go along with it. And I'm starting with this story because, we're talking about the voting thing in my last video. I saw a bunch of crazy nonsense going on in the markets, and guys, this is sort of the stuff I try to warn you guys about. I'll just tell you the truth. When I first started this whole thing back in the dot-com bubble, that's when I first started investing. I actually had the choice. I was like, okay, I could invest in this Expedia company, and you guys know what Expedia is. I knew what it was. We all know what it was. They were going IPO, and this is when back when I was buying my first stocks. And then, or there was this like fintech company, which I don't even remember the name, but I remember it starts with an A. You can probably imagine what happened to that fintech company. Yes, you're correct. They went bust basically, and in fact, it turns out that they had a bunch of accounting fraud issues, etc. And that was how I learned my first lesson in the market, that sometimes there's some bad actors out there. And you could even argue a lot of bad actors. I'll give you an example. This is sort of what I want to go through just to warn you guys about stuff that happens in the market. This was a story, actually, I remember talking about, like, I don't know, a year or so ago. The Tyson Foods dude, he's a CFO. And I guess he was like drinking and driving and got arrested again. And the reason why I said we talked about it a couple years ago, this is the second time. Second arrest. You can believe that. The first one, I remember the story because it was such a weird one. The dude was like, this is the first time, the dude was like really, really drunk. And then he like went to some women's house and just like to some stranger, like one of the neighbors or whatever, and like slept in her bed. And like she found him in his bed and then, you know, found him in her bed and like called the police. Of course she would. Like, who's a stranger in my bed? And you know, that's a long topic, but I'll just say, just imagine if the person looked a different way than what he looks in, you know, in this picture, you know, and you can make some, or I'll spell it out for you. Let's say he, you know, wasn't the grandson of Tyson Foods and wasn't white. What would happen to you if, like, you're drunk, you just go into someone's, you know, house, you never know what the police would do to you or the person. And I just want to make it really clear. Some people have, how can I say, a little bit more freedom than others. We'll put it that way. And I point this out because it's like, it's crazy, the crap that goes on. I made a few videos recently about the whole Graham Stephan Yada Bang thing. I don't know why anyone follows this guy still. You can watch my videos on that. Even CoffeeZilla calls out the dude. Or this Do Kwon dude, right? Who's a total scammer. If you don't know this dude, he's into crypto, this kind of stuff. And, you know, the reason why I'm pointing this out is like, oh, you know, he's got a smiling face. He seems like nice. He seems like he cares about me. They recently got fined by the SEC $4.5 billion, and keep going on as usual, actually. I'm not sure what's going to happen to this guy. I remember he ran away from the authorities. He's a Korean national, but he was educated in the USA. I think he went to Stanford. Where would they found him? It was some European country where he found him. If you guys remind me, I can't remember where he was. He was like hiding and he disappeared, etc. And I'm pointing this stuff out because this is the crap that goes on. And just be careful out there. Here's more crap that goes on, and this would be from the employee side. I thought this was a funny one. This came out just 28 minutes ago. I had to go over this, and I'll be curious if any of you guys or heard of these things or have partaken in this activity. Headline: Wells Fargo fires workers for simulating being at their keyboards. So I don't know if people are using a program where they have like the you know, like some sort of like thing that just like punches a keystroke every now and then. I don't know what people are doing exactly, but the description is the bank said the workers were discharged last month. I've determined that they had sought to, quote, create the impression of active work through simulation of keyboard activity. The stuff that people pull. But this is the world we live in. So, like, you know, whenever I see like some sort of, you know, crazy corruption or nonsense going on in the market, I'm just not surprised. I'm not surprised by the behavior of people. Here's another one, guys. It just came out today, June 13, 2024. Executives from ADHD startup arrested, charged with fraud, and I guess it was called the Dun Global. That's the name of the company, and they were just making it really easy for people to get Adderall, and they were kind of abusing the whole system during COVID, where you know, it was all work from home or whatever, and you could do this teledoc kind of stuff, and so, you know, it would just make it really easy for people to get Adderall, basically, and you know, I'm sure you guys know that. These drugs, you can use them for yourself for whatever means that you want, or you could sell them to other people, and there is money in this stuff. They're supposed to be a prescription, but if you make it easy, then it is what it is. And you know, to further iterate, going back to the Musk stuff, but I just wanted to show that, guys, it's not just Musk that I point out. I point out all kinds of stuff. The Musk stuff just recently with Tesla is just really, really fascinating because there's all these crazy things that have been coming out recently with the whole vote stuff. This was actually was this like a week or so ago? This is June 3rd, and he's being sued for insider trading. The basic gist was that, hey, you know, you were saying things in public that were different than what was in private, right? You sold a bunch of stocks when you knew things were going to start going downhill, and you were selling but not saying anything. And it turns out, and it's funny because I saw this article and I thought it was the same suit. Turns out it's another one. So we have a second lawsuit accusing Musk of insider trading. This one also including his brother, Kimmel Musk. It says Tesla shareholders sue Musk to return billions in alleged unlawful profits. And the people suing in this one was the Employees Retirement System of Rhode Island. So Rhode Island is suing Mr. Musk. And we have this one here. Elon Musk sued for harassment by former SpaceX employees. I mentioned this in a prior video, but I'm just saying, guys, nothing surprises me in this world. To be fair to Musk, you have your right to, you know, your And it's funny when you say that, you always think I right to remain silent, but you have a right though to defend yourself in court, right? And you have a right to face your accuser, all these kind of things. So I don't necessarily pass judgment on any of this stuff. Hey, you know what? Go to court, do whatever you got to do, and we'll see. And I accept whatever decisions that courts make. I'm fine with the rule of law. Some people aren't, but I am. The one thing I will say about this stuff though is like pointing all these things out. Look at people's track records, and also to just don't be surprised or anything. And the older you get, you won't be. You guys may or may not know this. I'm 49. I've seen a lot, and I make YouTube videos, right? You guys know this, but I've only been doing it for like I don't know, a couple years now. It's it's a very small portion of my life of all the things that I've seen. I mention this because sometimes people always say, "Oh, Chris, you're so dumb. What have you done?" Blah blah blah. And I wrote a book. It's called Positive Angle. If you're a fan of the channel, I encourage you to check it out. It'll give more context of why I talk the way that I do. Many times people are really surprised on my age. And I can tell you, I gotta state this extremely clearly. It is not genetic. I will repeat again, it is not genetic. All of my siblings look older than me, even though they're younger than me. I'm actually the middle child, but that's a long story in itself. I lost my family at the end of the Vietnam War. We were separated for 48 years. Ultimately found them again, and then I was just really inspired to write sort of about the experiences along the way. I've seen a lot. I'm just showing you guys just a picture when I was at CW. I met the vice president. That's a whole other story. Or, when I went to Amazon, and actually this was, I can't remember what year this was. I want to say this was 2017. I just don't remember exactly. I think it was. But at that time, it was interesting. I had to sign an NDA. They were showing us AI stuff and drone stuff and face recognition, all these kind of things. And, now in 2024, we're actually talking about it. And I couldn't find the picture, but back in I want to say 2015. I just don't remember the exact date. So sorry, I'm old, guys. It's like 10 years ago. But I actually went to a meeting with Oak Tree Capital. Was it Oakwood, Oakmont? I forget the name, but it's Howard Marks, if you guys know who that is. A very successful investor, and it was fascinating because this was back. You must have been 16, because we were talking about the Trump election thing. And why am I talking Trump? It's not about politics. It's just about he was just giving a sort of a macro talk about what's happening and where investors are going, based on election, etc. And one of the things he said, and this relates to the Amazon stuff, was like, this AI stuff and robot stuff is coming, and it's going to put a lot of people out of work, and you're going to have like major social upheaval, right? Because like you basically have all these workers that don't have jobs. And it was fascinating that he was talking about back then, because he's plugged in even more than me, and so he'd be here from the rumor mill of like things in the pipeline and predicting the future the same way that at that time we were talking about what's going to happen post election, etc. So I mentioned all this stuff to you guys because I like sharing conversation with you. I learn things from you every single day when you watch this channel. You guys write comments and say, "Oh, okay, that's a great point," because I can't possibly think of everything all the time. But what I can do is share my experiences and honest opinions about this stuff. It's frustrating because we live in a crazy world where there's this honestly shilling everywhere. And also too, if you want to see what my life is like, and it's really different than other people's, and it's hard to explain, so I make videos. My wife and I, we started a channel. It's called Chris and Yeji. We just started, but actually it took off pretty well, actually. For true story, just a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, something like that. But we were over 1,000 subscribers, like 1.29K. It's not a huge channel by any stretch, but it's fun. And it's funny. This is true story. Just yesterday, someone wrote this really weird comment, because there's weird people out there on YouTube, and they wrote, "These are the two most fakest people in the whole world. I bet when they turn off the camera, they're fighting all the time." I told my wife that. She just starts laughing. So, you can make up your mind on that. And, all I can do, and this is sort of why I share with you, right? Look at people's track record. And I show up every day smiling, having a chat with you. That it is what it is. You look at a lot of other channels out there in the world, and they show up and they're drinking every day. And seriously, and I won't mention names, or there's some YouTubers out drinking on air and doing some crazy stuff, and or crying every day and making apologies for scamming you, that kind of stuff. I just laugh. And that's the drama that you see on YouTube. And sort of the lesson I want you to get from this kind of the whole video today is don't put your eggs all in one basket. I always say that because, again, my first experience in the .com bubble with that scammy fintech company, etc. Even today, you know, when you see all this, you know, scams, frauds, bad actors out there, this is sort of the advantage of why you would, you know, do like a diversified, you know, index kind of thing or ETF or whatever, opposed to just going, hey, I'm going to YOLO on one thing. Unfortunately, we live in a world where that's kind of encouraged among the kids. The kids are like, hey, I put all my money in the dog coin. Look how awesome I am. And then like the next week, hey, I lost all my money in the dog coin. Look how sad I am, right? And you know, it's fun to make fun of these people. But the sad thing is like a lot of people listen to that kind of stuff. And I just warn you to be careful out there. Yep, that's it. So thanks again for watching, everyone. Please share your thoughts, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.